If you're watching this video, it is because you're looking to make changes and create order in your environment, which is a reflection of how orderly your cranial universe is. Yes, your wonderful brain is asking for a change. When we created this workshop called UCO with 4 masterclasses for full activation, the first thing I did was to put it in practice in my life. Here in Vimes, everything that we teach is effectively tested, and in my case, the results were amazing. The truth is that when your brain is organized, everything around you becomes organized. As explained by Paulo Rivallo, a psychologist who specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy, cleanliness and order greatly influence our mental health. Human beings tend to always search for balance, both internally and externally, and that has to do with our environment. If we look around, everything requires order, even in nature. So we're programmed for that order. I've experienced enormous changes in my life by applying certain things. I thought I was a very organized person, but the truth was I didn't realize I was rigid. So the question arises, what is the difference between being orderly and being rigid? Well, our health helps us to answer that question. If to keep your environment clean and beautiful and your life in order with an agenda and a good schedule, you end up with body pain, pain in your back, a tense neck, I assure you that you are rigid. You're not enjoying the process of being organized. This is a sign that enters your brain, and the brain then sends that message to your beautiful body, and there go the aches and pains. On the contrary, if you enjoy doing what you're doing while you're doing your chores, you fulfill your daily goals, you start by writing them down without spending a whole lot of time on it and no stress, then it means you're doing it really well. You're relaxed, and your body's like, this is good. It tells you when you finish your task to even applaud yourself and say, job well done. Now rest. That was my case. And then that was of the first participants as well, their experience of the Masterclass UCO, which is short for Organized Cranial Universe. From rigidity when organizing their environment and their life in general, they discovered that flexibility is the key, and they began to see with each workshop challenge that organizing can be relaxing and positive in every aspect. Now let's talk about the benefits you'll get by doing your UCO workshop. First, you'll learn simple techniques that are very effective when it comes to organizing yourself at home, work, or even with schoolwork. Your personal organization from this moment will be very different. The second is you will optimize your mental health while your environment is organized, achieving full balance. Remember, mental health is fundamental in every aspect of our lives. Third, you will enjoy the accompaniment of an instructor who's a coach. You'll have daily communication with her and with your classmates. This is something other online academies do not offer. You will have the skills to put into practice with your family, with everyone else who wants to. And we could also mention that the support material you receive is unlike any other. In the information of this Masterclass UCO, you have everything in detail regarding the benefits of doing this amazing Organized Cranial Universe workshop. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday to you. It's good to have everybody on. I'm going to look over here to see some of in the chat, to see who's here. We have 16 people on. So glad to have you. Welcome, welcome. Please let us know where you're coming in from, where you're connecting from. If this is your first time and you want to get in that chat, or even if you don't want to, we would appreciate if you would subscribe to our channel. But in order to, so you just hit the subscribe button, and then if you want to get in the chat, wait about a minute, and then you'll be able to say something in the chat. You know, throughout the time we're here, we chit chat with each other. I ask questions. There's a nice interchange, and it gives me life when you respond in the chat. So please join in. Or you can be an innocent bystander in the background, listen and appreciate the information. That's fine as well. My name is Karen Marinez. I'm an emotional wellness coach. I am here to help you to manage your emotions, how to learn how to manage emotions. It's not something that we're taught as children. We're taught to sit down and be quiet, right? And we're taught to suppress our emotions most of the time. So here, this community, we help you learn how to manage your emotions, how to process your emotions, okay? This is a good time if you want to share the link with someone else that you think could benefit from the information. They can come on in and join along with us. Let me check in the chat. Let me know where you're logging in from, okay? I saw Jojo up there from Medellin, Colombia. Yes, hey Jonique. We have my dear Elvin in the back. Hey, for Elvin from Queens. We have Sheila G in Palm Bay, Leah Barnator in Springfield, Mass. Hello, hello, Yolanda Elvin from Palm Bay. We have Tiffany Brooks from Alabama. Marilyn, hello from Kansas City, girl. It's good to have you here. Cindy from Texas. We have Andrea Taveras from St. Petersburg, Florida. It is so good to have you all here. So today the topic is the childhood wound of abandonment. What a hot topic. There was such an amazing response, a lot of inquiries, a lot of questions. People it brought up all kind of emotions and thoughts and memories. I heard from a lot of you. And it's really nice that this information is getting out into the world so we can understand who we are, why we act the way we are. Maybe we're extra clingy. Maybe we have those relationships where they're codependent, right? Last week we talked a lot about how the wound of abandonment comes about from childhood, always from our caregivers, mom and dad, and also how it affects us, what it looks like in daily life. And I also sent out an inquiry for questions. Some people were typing questions in the chat, and others joined our WhatsApp group and put their questions there. So we're going to get to the questions at the end of our time together. Okay, it's really good to have you all. This topic, I'm like this because it's just so profound. It's so deep. It's so deep. And that's it. The wound of abandonment is deep-seated emotional distress stemming from experiences where a child, felt left behind, discarded, or rejected. It can be parental neglect, the death of a loved one. It could be a divorce, a separation of the parents. It could be emotional or physical abandonment in relationships. Okay, so let's just review a little bit of what are the consequences. How does it show up, that abandonment wound? How does it show up in adulthood? If you're taking notes, I think that's a really good idea. All right. Number one is codependent relationships. Okay, over-reliance on others, clingy, needing others for emotional support. Now, of course, as humans, people need people. We all need to be in a circle, a group of people that can nurture us. I call them vitamin people, okay, that nurture us, they feed us, but it's an interchange. But when we're codependent and we can't live without this person, that's not healthy for me and it's not healthy for my partner. It could also be a friend. You know how I like to talk to the audience. I spoke to someone last week actually about it, and I didn't get to include it. She said, Karen, she came from a divorced parents. Um, and she said when it came to her friends, she took her friendships very seriously. But if she had friends, just say with Shelly, and then she found out that Shelly went out with Andrea to hang out, she would feel threatened. Like Andrea's going to take Shelly away from me. But of course, we know, stepping back from it, that one person can have multiple friends and they all be authentic because every person brings something different to our lives, right? But that would make her feel very insecure, jealous. Is she going to prefer her over me and abandon me? Isn't that interesting? So it can even show up in friendships. And we have to be careful about that, because when we are like that, it's hard to be with someone that is, you can't spread your wings because I got this loyalty thing. And she learned to realize where it came from and like, no, she values me and she values the other person too. Just because she's hanging out with that person doesn't mean that she's forgotten about me. I'm still important. But she realized that she couldn't be clingy and demanding of other people's time, right? We have some others. We have, Deborah Owens from Springfield, Itza from Houston, Texas, and Roxy Ebony, hello. So that over-reliance on others, that codependency, also fear of being alone. A deep-seated fear of being alone is unhealthy. It can make us stay in unhealthy and abusive relationships because I'd rather be with him who's abusive than be by myself. We're going to talk about that later, that fear of being alone. Number 2, how does it show up? Difficulty with intimacy and trust. I've no fear of vulnerability. I know couples who I know stuff about the wife that the husband doesn't know. Intimate things, important things that he should know, he has no idea because she doesn't want to be vulnerable with him. She doesn't trust him that much. But yes, she's codependent. Isn't it interesting? Trust issues, even in friendships. I don't want to get too close. Oh, where's she coming from with this? Suspicious of people's intentions and actions. It leads to conflicts, breakdowns, because trust is vital in relationships. So that's number 2. The first one was codependent relationships. Number 2 is difficulty with intimacy and trust. Number 3, this is big, low self-esteem and self-worth. Adults with the abandonment wound often carry a negative self-image. And it's very interesting. You may say, but what I put forth in the world, right, is this is who I am, but inside you're really like this. A lot of people put on a mask. Everything is perfect. Everything is just so. And inside they're crumbling. Inside they feel like nothing. And so they seek external validation. They rely heavily on the validation of others to feel good about themselves. And that opens them up to manipulation, criticism, which would make the situation worse. So low self-esteem and self-worth comes from that abandonment wound from childhood. Number 4, anxiety and depression. That chronic anxiety, fear of being abandoned, can show itself as chronic anxiety, causing constant worry about relationships, the potential for rejection. And it affects your overall well-being because you can't rest because I'm with this person, but when are they going to leave me? Feelings of hopelessness, worthlessness, stemming from that abandonment wound leads to periods of depression. It's an emotional burden, and it could be overwhelming and debilitating. Okay. Number 4, self-sabotaging behaviors. So here again, the irony of it. Someone might unconsciously sabotage their relationship to avoid the pain of potential abandonment. This guy is getting close to me. This might develop into something. I'm going to push him away because I can't trust that he's going to stay around. So before he leaves, let me push him away. Not interesting. And they avoid commitment because of fear of getting hurt. Even in friendships, it's not always just male female, a romantic relationship, but even in friends, a lot of people say, I'm good by myself. I'm an introvert. I don't need friends. Have you heard that before? Have you said that before? But people need people. So it's good to question yourself, why do I avoid relationships? Is it because I don't want to get hurt, right? But of course, it affects us in a negative way. So it also impacts our personal development in our professional lives, right? It could create career instability, our low self-esteem doesn't help us in the workforce, right? We may struggle with authority figures, fear taking risks, lack the confidence to pursue career advancements. We're offered a good, better position, and we say no because I don't know if I could handle that. I'm going to mess it up because of the low self-esteem. Or the other extreme of overworking, over pleasing. We want to get the approval and validation of others, so we're going to work, work, work. We sacrifice our personal time and health so that the boss can say, good job. We hope. Sometimes they don't even say but we do that because we want people to say, hey, this is our best worker. He's the last one to leave the office every night. That makes us feel good. But it can damage our family relationships, right? Number two, personal growth. It can stunt our emotional growth because we find it hard to develop a sense of self, a strong sense of self, because our identity and worth are tied up in others' opinions and in others' presence. If I'm not with him, if he leaves me, I'm no good. My life is over. I'm worthless. That's not true. We all have worth and value. Okay. And then I found this important and very interesting, limited exploration. So a fear of failure and rejection can limit our awareness to explore new opportunities and experiences. Are we afraid to travel to new places? Does that totally overwhelm us? That's also part of anxiety, but does that anxiety come from the abandonment wound? It's something to think about. Are we afraid to take chances? And it could be something wonderful. And somebody says, oh, I have this opportunity. Do you want to do it? And you're like, oh, and then because of the abandonment wound. So we know what it's all about. Hey, Anne-Marie and Joanne from Massachusetts. Nice to have you here. The question is, how do we heal, right? How do I move past this? I know where I've come from. I realize it now. That was the purpose of this, so we could see it in real life. How does it show up, this wound of abandonment? And then the question is, how can we heal it? Because we don't want to be stuck here. Last week, we talked about recognizing the wound, right? Some people may have gotten on and said, oh yeah, I know so-and-so has that wound, but they didn't realize they have it too. And accepting it, accepting the emotions with it, the sadness, the anger, the fear. Those are emotions associated with abandonment, and they're perfectly okay. They're acceptable. It would be normal to have them. So accept it, recognize it, and accept it. And one way to deal with that loss caused by abandonment, I had mentioned last week, writing a letter to the person that you, or persons that you feel abandoned you. It could be mother, father, right? It's one of the parents, but it could be both of them in different ways. Maybe daddy left. He abandoned in that way, and mommy became a workaholic because she had to, and I shouldn't even say had to, and she may have really had to. So you were left with grandma, you were left with the neighbor, you always saw her coming and going, right? Or mom was a party girl, so she worked Monday to Friday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, she's out. You see her in the mirror getting herself dressed and cute, and she's leaving you with babysitter. She's out all night, and you're like, right? Don't you want to spend time with me? So whatever emotions come up, write. I encourage everyone to get a journal, something beautiful that makes you feel good when you look at the cover of it. and write in that journal. Tell that person all of your feelings, sadness, anger, rejection, confusion from that age. Most people, I used to do the same thing. We evaluate our parent based on me now as an adult, but she did the best she could. She had me young. She had issues with my father. Things were hard. She didn't have it easy. She didn't have support. She had a rough childhood. So I shouldn't take it personal. No, you can't heal that way because you're making excuses for her. And that's loving. It's beautiful, but it won't help you heal. You have to go back to 4-year-old, when you were 5 years old, 7 years old, whenever that abandonment started. It could be from the womb. That's what you, from that perspective, you have to write in that journal as the 4-year-old what you saw, how you interpreted the situation, and you have to write the letter. You're not going to send it. And sometimes the person is deceased, so you can't send it, but it's to get it out, express those emotions. It does a world of good. Okay. Now, let's talk about some more ways to heal. Okay, I think there are 4 points. All right. And this is when it gets a little tricky because everything involves you. As humans, when something bothers us, our natural inclination is, if he would change, everything would be better. If she would do this, my life would improve. We all do it. If my boss were like this, I would love going to work. Right? If my husband was more clean, I'd be a happy. We always exteriorize it. We always look to the exterior to solve our issues and problems. But the beauty of it is, you may be disappointed to hear, but the beauty of it is everything rests on us, on me, because it's my life and it's the way I look at things. If I'm relying on this person to change, what if they never change? Then I'm stuck in this. I can't heal. Take your power back. All right. So these are ways you can get your power back and start to heal. This is your life. You ready? All right, let's go. Get clear on emotional responsibility, number 1. If anything resonates with you, type it in the chat, please. Let me know if this is difficult or hard, if it'll be a challenge for you. Get clear on emotional responsibility. When your abandonment paranoia gets out of control, here's a question. Do you expect your partner or your sibling or your parent to calm or your best friend to calm your anxiety? So if you struggle with abandonment issues, you probably have an intense desire to feel taken care of. It's normal, but it can distort your view of personal responsibility because you say, I need my husband. He's here. He's my anxiety reliever. He's my safety blanket. His reassurance is the basis of my security. When he puts his arm around me, I feel like everything's going to be okay. But when that person who has good and bad days as well, when they're having a bad week, now I'm an emotional wreck because he's having a bad week and he can't put his arm around me like I want. And there goes that abandonment again. But he's a normal person who has ups and downs as well. So if I give all the responsibility to him to care for me emotionally, is that mature? Is that adult? So who is emotionally responsible for me, for you? Me and you. I'm responsible emotionally for myself. Okay. And that's very difficult for some people to accept. But you have to assume complete ownership of your feelings. People will trigger your insecurities. That's what they do. But it's not their job to make you feel better about yourself. It's your responsibility. It's my responsibility to cultivate a healthy mind that believes the best of myself, the best of yourself. But do you see the power in that? That if I can develop that, I don't need outside people to give me reassurance. It's nice, but I give it to myself. Do you get that? Does that resonate with anyone? Can you put it in the chat, please? How does that make you feel thinking about that? To me, when I learned that, it just empowered me, because with me before it was tears and I need you to do this. I really need you to change, because if you don't change, if the other person doesn't change, what's going to happen? I have to I have to change myself. My happiness cannot rely on another person changing. It's difficult enough to change myself, but it's easier to say, you change, then I'll be happy. Doesn't work that way though. Cindy says, in control. Anne-Marie says, powerful indeed. So we do not need the outside world to validate us, to make us feel emotionally secure. If they do, wonderful. It's just an added benefit. But me, I'm going to take care of myself emotionally. I have low self-esteem. I realize that now. I'm going to work on boosting my self-esteem. What do I need to do? Where do I sign up? Right? We got some comments. Roxy Ebony says, very empowered. It's crying. I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing with her because she's adorable. Itza says, what a gem, mind blowing. Yes. Andrea says, yes, I'm responsible for my happiness. Yes. Jonique says, facts. Yes. There is power in knowing that you control you and that you are responsible for you. Chica MB says it's an eye opener and it makes sense. We talked about this a long time ago. I don't even remember what the movie is, but it was this highly emotional scene, and one of the guys says to the girl, or the vice versa, you complete me. And oh, that became just, it's fantasy. I have to be whole, and my husband, my partner, has to be whole, and then two whole people come together, and now we can work together. But it's not a half of a person and a half, and we don't know. Because what if things happen to people, right? Life is not even guaranteed. So we cannot form our lives with this dependency on others, and especially our partner or our friends or the outside world, to boost us. We have to do it. All right. Number 2, correct idealistic expectations. This is another really good one. Ready? Do you assume it's your partner's job to fulfill all your needs? Subconsciously, people with the abandonment history are continuously looking to compensate for what they lost in childhood. Again, people are hurt. They feel they're owed something. It creates unrealistic expectations. Have you ever had someone ask something of you and you're like, I can't do that. If I did it, it will require a tremendous amount of sacrifice on my part. I have my own stuff. It's probably that person wants you to go above and beyond to prove your love for them, because they have that abandonment wound. And then it's like, oh, but it doesn't stop. You don't win. It's a wound, and it's a deep, so they want more and more and more. The article I read calls them love addicts. They search for that constant fix, to be needed by someone else, but basically for that person to fulfill their needs. It's like a relationship high, but it doesn't last. It's only temporary. So a relationship becomes addictive because that person possesses something that I need. So now I can't live without them. Again, clingy, codependency. No one can fulfill all of your needs. Only you can. A lot of times we have needs, we don't even know how to express them to the other person, but we know what we need. Give it to yourself. It's powerful. To break the toxic dependency, you have to change the way you get your needs met. Here's a question. What would it look like if you took full responsibility for your happiness? What would that look like? Well, you need to invest in yourself. intentionally create the life that you desire. It's beautiful. You create the life that you desire. You don't wait on this person to create it for you. Once he's doing this, then we can. You do it for yourself. That's what you want to do. Or they're couples. Well, if he doesn't, the wife wants to do something. It could be something as simple as a pottery class. She loves that. She would love that feeling in her hands and interact with the others and bring something home. He wants to watch the football game. He's not interested in pottery. So he said, well, okay, I won't go. Mm. But then you're angry. You're upset. You're resentful. And now he's looking like, what? Because you have the car or you have a means of transportation, you have the money for it, you have the time for it. Could be that he would love to go, but he just doesn't have the time in his schedule. You go. That's for you. That's to fill you up. Go and enjoy it to the fullest. Come home and tell him about it. It makes for great dinner conversation, right? Design the life you desire. Okay. Travel, exercise, new life goals, working with a therapist or a coach, joining a small group. Maybe you want to walk more, jog more, you want to join a runner's club, you want to do art, you want to see this movie. Do it. Just do it. You want to start a new career, you want to have new friendships, learn a new skill. Do it. Don't hold back because this person won't go with me, or I'm single and my best friend won't join me. It's okay. It's okay. You do it. And have realistic expectations, because a person with abandonment issues creates idealistic expectations like, this is what I want my marriage to look like. We all have done it. But you're dealing with two people that have different goals, different thoughts, different interests. Adjust your expectations. Even of family members, adjust your expectations. It's okay. And you can go do it and enjoy it. And then you have more to talk about with your family. Let's see the comments. Kim Lee, I'm here late, but I'm here. Girl, you're here. Yeah, we're happy to have you. Welcome. Itza says welcome. So she must be a friend of Itza's. We're very happy to have you, Emery. Always love this thought. Intentionally create the life you deserve. It's beautiful. And Emery, we've had our conversations through the years. I struggled with that. I'm married. We should be tied at the hip. That's what I thought. But I had to create the life that I desire, right? And then hubby supports me, and I'm very grateful for it. It's a beautiful thing. Um, Joanne says mental maturity is a fresh start for true happiness. Yes. Marilyn says prioritizing your happiness is key. It is. And my favorite three words in the English language are, or my favorite sentence is, I prioritize myself. It is so important. It really, really is. And that leads us to number 3. Learn to self-validate. Thank you, Marilyn. You didn't know you were going to lead us right into the next one. PJ is here. Hey, Pam, good to have you. Welcome. Learn to self-validate. Again, we're trained from childhood to look to others for validation. We come home, mommy, daddy, look, I got this grade. Or we come home from kindergarten and we drew something, and mom, a loving mom, puts it on the refrigerator, and everybody that comes, they see it, right? And the parents say, I'm so proud of you. And we just beam. But what parents should really say is, you should be proud of yourself, baby. You did good. And I'm proud of you too. Parents, can you write that down, please? It's so important. Teach the child to validate him or herself. And any extra from the outside world is that it's extra. You should be proud of yourself, and I am too. Okay, if we just say, I'm proud of you, we're teaching them, as we were taught, that we're only valuable when the world recognizes us. Okay, so We may feel I need constant reinforcement to verify that people love me so I can feel good about myself. Again, we're putting our self-worth in someone else's hands. Hopefully it's a trustworthy person, but it's still not healthy. And don't let it be an untrustworthy person, someone who wants to do us harm. Terrible. That's vulnerability at its worst. That's not good. Right? So abandonment wrecks your self-esteem. So naturally, there's a huge appeal to look to other people to be your primary source of validation. There's nothing wrong with other people validating you, but they shouldn't be your primary source of validation. I should be, right? And so we yearn to be told you're okay. So there's nothing wrong with accepting affirmation, but when we cannot function without it from the outside world and we continue to need people to resuscitate us emotionally, that's when it's a problem. Because now we're needy. The codependency starts again. So here's a question, because the thing is, learn to self-validate, but do you crumble when your partner disagrees or disapproves of you? If your husband has a different point of view, does that set you off? Do you spin out of control when you get criticized? So in life, sometimes we don't receive the positive feedback that we want. But what would it be like if your mood was not controlled by people's words and behaviors? Now, we should accept when someone disagrees with us. That's normal. When they give us honest criticism, we should accept it and learn from it. But our moods should not be controlled by if someone disapproves of me, disagrees with me, now I'm upset and angry for the rest of the night. They just ruined my night. That triggered me. Why? Because we associate that with abandonment and rejection. So don't give people the power to determine your self-worth. Listen to these words. Learn to anchor yourself. I love that. Anchor yourself instead of relying on others to prop you up. That's, love it. No amount of praise will convince you of your significance if you don't believe it yourself anyway. So you have to learn to self-validate. I have to learn to self-validate. It'll force you to get very clear on who you really are instead of defining yourself based on how people treat you. Because not everyone's going to treat us well. But that doesn't mean that I'm not a person worthy of love, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not valuable. I know my worth now, though. But years ago, I didn't. I had to do the work and heal. And there's happiness on the other side, I promise you. It's work, but it's work for yourself, and it's well worth it. Jonique says, facts. Olanda, hey, you're here. Good to see you. Oh my, she says. Marilyn, love this point so much. Joanne says, deep. Yeah, learn to anchor yourself instead of relying on others to prop you up. We don't need the outside world for us to know our worth. That we are very valuable. We are precious and special. Each of us individually. You are precious. Every part of you, all your idiosyncrasies, everything that has brought you to who you are today and formed you, makes you you. There's no one else like you in the world. You're important. You're valuable. But me telling you that, it may prop you up, but it doesn't feed you unless you believe it yourself. Okay, so we have to do that. Roxy Ebony likes that too. I love that. Learn to anchor yourself. The fourth, be authentic. So have you discarded your true self? Do you misrepresent yourself in the world? Do you hold back on relationships, in relationships? Abandonment can disrupt the development of a person's individuality because they believe the lie that says they're not good enough. So it's like, I'll just kind of blend in. Whatever they like, I like. I'll never disagree. Whatever he wants, that's what we'll do on the weekends. They adjust themselves to fit the desires of people around them. Don't do that. Be your authentic self. Don't suppress who you are. Be you. But we're afraid to be authentic in relationships because we think the differences will affect the stability of our connection with the person. No. Be you. Don't walk on eggshells. Don't put up with bad behavior. That's what people who are trying to people please do. Don't compromise your originality. That's enough. Isn't that? Don't compromise your originality. Don't abandon yourself. So do you see that? When we've been abandoned, right? As a child, but then we can abandon ourselves even now as adults. It's very interesting. If you're taking notes, if you could write that, how am I abandoning myself today? Are you not being your authentic self? Do you live a secret life that you have an appearance one way but behind the scenes you're a totally different person? Do you hold back from doing things for yourself just to please others? That's abandonment to yourself. We don't want to keep adding to our wound of abandonment. We want to stop it. Be brave enough to clearly identify who you are. Who are you? What's your identity? And commit to valuing yourself enough so you don't sell out any longer. You don't people please. Okay. More comments. Be yourself is Andrea's favorite. Cindy has the anchor signs and the hearts. Marilyn says, this is something I need to work on, Marilyn. You're not alone. And Cindy says, don't abandon yourself. Oh my goodness. We're upset with the adults that abandon us when we were children, and then we keep on doing the same thing to ourselves. That's not loving. We have to love ourselves. Our final one is practice self-confrontation. This is very interesting. The first, because we're like, if I need to sit him down, because I need him to change. When he changes, then my life is going to be a whole lot better. But the first person you need to confront is you. Individuals with a strong sense of self, know how to admit when they're wrong. So to heal from abandonment, you need to become a person who daily self-confronts. You look at yourself in the mirror and you take responsibility of how your actions hurt other people, how your actions abandon. Maybe you're a parent and you do that to your children. You experienced it and now you're doing it to your kids and you feel so bad, but you keep doing it. We have to look at ourselves in the mirror. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to do this. I want to stop it here, stop the madness. It's going from generation to generation. I want to stop it here with my kids. And you can do it. It helps you to reflect. You can examine if your attitudes and behaviors are out of alignment with your core values. I want to be a good mom. I want to be present for my kids. I'm going to answer. Someone asked a really good question. What do I do if my kids are already grown up and I abandoned them as children? We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But even if your children are adults now, you can show up for them in a different way. It's never too late. It's never too late to heal relationships. If it's not too late for ourselves, we can heal our own selves. Imagine what we can do for our kids. So beautiful. Resolve to stop dodging responsibility because of your past. We blame it. Oh, my parents. Well, look, I was abandoned. That happened to me, and that's why I'm the way I am. Okay, we acknowledge that. But now work on it so you can change and you don't hurt the people in your life now. Stop blaming. Own it. Just own it. That's it. Here's a good one. Take inventory of how unfairly you treat your partner. Right? Is that happening? Be honest with yourself. Or how unfairly I'm treating my children. Be aware of it. Look yourself in the mirror. Take responsibility. Be humble about it. And when you change, everything around you changes. But if you don't change, nothing in your life changes. And here's another one. What we resist persists. So if you resist change and you keep with the same behavior that was handed down to you, and you do that to your spouse, your children, the problem persists and it goes on to the next generation. We want to stop it. Okay. So, good stuff, right? Can healing happen? Yes, yes, yes. Who can do it? Who has the power? You've got the power. Okay. We got some more reflejo de espejo, Joanne. That means look in that mirror and see the reflection of yourself. Andrea said, need to work on that one. Olanda says, I like that. Teach our kids to validate themselves. Yes. You should be so proud of yourself. Okay. So these childhood wounds are here to teach us really about what we need to focus on now. So we might be like, oh, if only my father had been there. Why did he divorce me? Why did he leave? If only, and we just stay on that and we can't get, and we just keep going. Write him a letter, right? Work, but then work on yourself. Tell him how it affected you, how you felt in that moment, anger, but whatever it is, let it all out. But now the question is, what if this abandonment wound, I want you to listen closely, what if it's an invitation for you to reorganize yourself into a resilient person based on what you've been through, and now you're taking your power back? You can create whatever life you want. It's all in your hands. And you don't want to be a victim. You want to be a resilient person, able to take the ebbs and flows of life. That's why we're talking about emotional wellness, because when we have our emotions intact and we've healed, we still experience all emotions, but it's not so drastic where we go to the point of no return. It's only when we test our capacity that we discover the strength that resides in us. So you may be looking at this and say, I can't, no. And we feel like if we move on, if we heal, that person got away with it. That might be a thought, but it doesn't. No one else matters except you. And you're the one dealing with the hurt. Once you heal, you can move on and that person doesn't have a hold on you anymore. That's power. That's freedom. It's liberation from the past. Okay. Anne Marie says, I do. I got the power. Yes. It says change can be made. I have. Yes. These are amazing positive affirmations, by the way. I have the power. Joanne in Spanish says, sí se puede. I can do it. Marilyn says, become the better person you want to be for yourself and your family. That's it, but mainly for yourself. And then your family, everyone who comes in contact with you benefits. When we better ourselves, when we heal, we do the work. Is it easy? No, but is it worth it? Oh, yeah, because we're happy. And when we're happy, everyone who comes in contact with us feels it. They see the joy. It's a light that comes out from inside of you. It's beautiful. And you feel so good. You feel so good. You feel light because you're carrying around. I was talking to several clients this past weekend. It's like you're carrying around this 1,000-pound weight of anger, fear, bitterness, etc., for decades. Some of us, it started in our mother's womb. We cooked in abandonment because she was abandoned. And it's time to let it go. But we can't just say, okay, no, we got to do the work. Okay. So now we're going to discuss how many questions that we have in the chat. There were 5 questions. Yeah. We're gonna answer those. Someone said, how do I amend the damage I caused my children because of being absent? To start the healing, we have to be humble and ask them for forgiveness. Talk to your children. They're adults. And even if they're 10, 11 years old and you want to change, you want to do better, talk to them. We're not used to that because no one talked to us when we were that age. But we didn't like it. It was unfair. We felt the injustice. But reassure your children that because of your mistakes, you are who you are today. So you can actually work at forgiving yourself first and then ask them for forgiveness. last week and this week, we see now you can see why you have these abandonment issues, why you abandoned your children. It was just a natural thing to do, but they're hurting. And you look and you see their lives and you feel bad. But allow that feeling to move you to action. So ask them for forgiveness, talk to them. And also be compassionate with your children. I was speaking to an older family member. None of her children like her. And she told me, she said, they think they had it hard when their father left, but I had it hard too. He left me. I was sad and depressed myself. I was abandoned too. Yeah, but you were an adult. They were little kids. They were teenagers. It's a whole different perspective. You had the power to do something. They didn't. They were relying on you. And daddy left. And now mommy, she stayed home with them, or say she lived with them, but she was out. She was doing her thing. And she refuses to apologize. She becomes the victim. Well, what about me? I suffered too. We understand that. But you have to acknowledge what your children suffered as well. So be compassionate with your children. Don't say, oh, that was in the past. Y'all need to get over that. That's not going to work. It makes it worse. That's abandonment right there. And rejection is horrible. Please ask them for forgiveness and be humble about it. And then they start healing, and you've already started the healing, but you will continue to heal. Open the conversation. All right? If you need help forming that, what do I say? How do I do with each child? Reach out to me. We can do a one-on-one. I'll help you with it. Just to form the words, to get yourself emotionally ready for it, because it can be like a confrontation. But we want it to end well, in peace, and where the child feels acknowledged that, thank you for acknowledging that you weren't there for me. You meant well, but it still hurt. Okay. Yeah. Ana Maria Jimenez, welcome. That's a new name. Good to have you. Accountability is key. It is. It really, and it feels so good. You who suffered abandonment from your parent, how would you feel if they apologized to you? You would feel so they're gonna feel it too. Okay. Become the better person you want to be for yourself. And you feel, okay, I read that one, Marilyn. Number 2, the second question was, how do I fill the void that abandonment leaves behind? That excellent question. And the key is self-love. That's the solution for our healing. Your parents left that wound, a hole in your heart, a hole in your soul. Here goes the power again. We become parents to ourselves and heal ourselves. You say, what? We become mommy and daddy to ourselves. We set boundaries. We give ourselves affection and love, right? And we do it for ourselves. The typical reaction when we have been abandoned is we try to go outward and we want to save the world. We want to save someone because we think if I fill them up and save them, then I'll heal. I'll be saved. It doesn't work that way. You just end up with a bigger hole. You're exhausted and done because you really had nothing to give in the first place. It's better to take good care of ourselves instead. Here we go again with that favorite sentence of mine. I prioritize myself. Set boundaries. What does that look like? To prioritize yourself? I pour a cup of coffee and I taste it first. It's delicious. Now I can serve it to others. Okay? Take care of you. Do the work so that you can heal. You can move beyond this. There is that void, but you are the only one who can fill it. Okay, yeah. Parent yourself. And you sit and think about it. What did I want from my mother that she didn't give to me? Time. Oh, do I give time to myself? Or do I just run and give to others? By the time I get home, I'm exhausted. I just throw myself in the bed. And I wake up with a headache, a migraine because I've overextended myself. So then you're not giving yourself time. That's what you wanted from your mom, you give that to. What did I want from my dad? I wanted affection. I wanted love. Well, how can you love yourself today? Is there something that you wanted to do that you've held back from? You have the money for it, but you haven't done it because it's like, do it. Whether it's a class, you want to learn to swim, you want to take a trip, you want to buy yourself something. Do you need clothes? Like sometimes we need, or I need a good pair of shoes for the next season. Do it, get it. Do you need to make doctor's appointments? The whole family is taken care of. And there's several doctor's appointments you need to make. You're like, oh yeah, I gotta get to that. No, do it. That's how you show love for yourself and you take care of yourself. You want a special meal, make it or go buy it. Go sit at a nice restaurant, treat yourself. If it's within your budget, right? But maybe you have it, but you always spend it on everybody else. And then when it's time for you, you don't have enough. We have to prioritize ourselves, fill those voids ourselves. Okay? Marilyn said, thanks for bringing this up as a reminder. Yeah, it's so important. The third one, someone said, how do you react if someone who has the wound of abandonment is unreasonable? Well, we've talked, last week was an hour, this week it's going to be about an hour about abandonment. It should allow us, when we look at it, if we've experienced or not. I mean, all of us have experienced it on one level or another. Some are more deep, right? Because ours may be less of abandonment, but we've experienced it on a level, but ours is more maybe humiliation, okay? But have compassion and empathy for others. I was talking to a good friend about this today. When you start doing the work on yourself and you realize how tangled up you are. I learned that from a very excellent therapist. He says we're not broken, we're tangled up. So we have to be untangled. It could take a very long time to do it, but when we start doing the work, we realize how difficult it is. But we keep at it. It allows us to have, but we're grateful for the information. But you're here, but imagine the people who are not here and have never heard any of this before. We can have compassion and empathy for them because they don't know better. They may not even know they have the abandonment wound. So if they're unreasonable, it's understandable. But love is also freeing. So we have to let people grow at their pace, live as they choose. Every person has free will, is entitled to live their life as they choose. I may choose not to have them in my life. I have to set boundaries, right? But they're entitled just like I'm entitled. But we're going to treat them with compassion, love, and empathy because we know how difficult it is to deal with these wounds. Okay? The fourth question, someone says, what if you feel like your childhood memories are blocked? So this is what you're going to do. You're going to say, you're going to look in the mirror. A lot of people don't even look in the mirror at themselves. It's too difficult. But I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to say this to yourself. You say, hello. And this may sound silly, but it works. You have to talk to yourself. You say, I know you blocked a lot of my memories because you wanted to protect me. And I'm very grateful for that. But I'm an adult now and I'm trying to heal. I'm on the path to wellness. So I give you permission to release those memories to me. And it's because I can handle them now. And you'll be surprised. You'll be washing the dishes or tying your shoe or opening your car door and whoo, there goes a memory. Because your body is made to protect you. Some memories have been so tragic, so difficult, so traumatic, the body is like, shut down. And some people are like, good, I don't want to remember. But apparently this person would like to remember. And so that's something you could do. You can talk to yourself about it. Deborah says powerful. Yeah, it is. Everything lies within ourselves. You can do it. You can heal. And I think that's so important, to have hope. Some people feel so tangled up, so wound up, and their self-esteem is so low. It's like, there's no hope for me. There is, I assure you. But you need help. You need company. You need assistance. I see that it's been put in the chat. If you want reservations, a one-on-one with me, there's the link in the chat. I can accompany you in the journey of healing, so you don't have to do it by yourself. I'll hold your hand and we walk together. I have a lot of happy clients and I enjoy them. And it's a pleasure to see them grow and be liberated and enjoy their lives. Last question was, what if the person who abandoned me always plays a victim? How do I confront him? This was a really good one. You ready? This is what you say to that person. And it's usually, it's a parent, you know, it could be mom, could be dad. You go to tell them, and I have a friend who says this, I want to say so much stuff to my dad about what he did to me. I don't think he has a clue, but I don't think he can handle it. So I hold it in. All right. So I encourage her to journal, write that letter, don't mail it if she thinks it'll, he can't handle it. But if the conversation comes up, or if you're talking to the person about something else, the parent about something else, and they're, oh, but you don't understand. Or like the mom, my family member, this is, my kids are complaining, but what about me? I was suffering too. I was the one that got, he divorced me and da 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 da. Here's what you say. I believe in you. You can handle it. Because they may say, no, I can't deal with this. No. You can handle it. I'm convinced that you can learn to believe in yourself. Another one is, you'll be able to come out of this. I promise. I trust you. Or you could say, I'm here to accompany you through this until you get to the goal. But I'm not going to do it for you. I can't do it for you, mom. Just say, but you can handle it. No, I can't. I need you to do boundaries, right? For you. Again, people can live and do and say whatever they please. That is their God-given right, free will. But as for me, I get to choose if you're within my safety zone. If you upbuild me, do you bring something to the table? Do I feel refreshed and happy once I've left you? If I'm not, then I have to keep you there. But I love you. So that father or mother that abandoned you, but they always play the victim, your words mean a lot. And I believe in you. You can handle it, Daddy. You got it. I'm convinced you can believe in yourself. You'll come out of this. Okay. So here's some homework that I want you guys to work on if you're willing. Here's the question. How do I abandon myself as an adult? Maybe you put others' needs ahead of your own. You say, I don't need others to love me. I don't need people to do things for me. I could take care of myself. You push people away. How do you abandon yourself as an adult? You overextend. You don't allow your body to rest properly. You don't give yourself permission to rest. It's so important. For healing, to heal, we need to rest. But our bodies, that's why we have the sleep cycle, so the body can renew itself. You go, overextend. I have to prove my worth. It's time to slow it down. Give some of that time to you, the first pickings to you. Don't abandon yourself. You were abandoned as a child. Don't abandon yourself as an adult, please. You're worth it. You're beautiful. You're precious. Your life has value. It's beautiful. Okay. And healing is on the way. Joanne enjoyed the topic. She said it was phenomenal. Deborah said so powerful. It is. It's amazing and exciting. I didn't even look. I was so busy preparing this. I didn't even look to see in the chat what is the next one, because I did a poll a few weeks back. Abandonment was the first one, but whichever was the next one, we're going to do that next week. Let me just look real quick. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Ooh, Marilyn says, I prioritize myself. Those are my favorite. That's my favorite sentence in the English language. Alejandro, ya pusiste el chat. Join the chat if you're not a part of it. You'll get reminders of the next theme. Let me see. I'm looking in the chat to see what the next one is that we're going to do. So abandonment got the first one. Oh, the next one is rejection. So next week, we're going to start on the childhood wound of rejection. And again, there are 5: rejection, abandonment, humiliation, betrayal, and injustice. All of us have experienced them all in one shape or form. However, there's usually 2 or 3 that dominate. Okay, so we all know what they all feel like. Oh, Cindy says Mondays are her favorite, but no new favorite day. They're mine too. I'm so glad to have you here. You make it sweeter. Ana Maria Jimenez, amazing. I'm so glad to have you here. It's really a pleasure. So next week we're going to do rejection. Share this, please, with others. Let's grow our community. Help each other grow. What else did I want to say to you? We're going to be doing a new class for UCO, which is learning how to organize our environment, our dresser drawers, our closets, our computer files, our kitchen, our living room, our homes. And it's going to start in September because the exterior usually reflects the interior, right? What's going on up here. If you're interested, please let us know. Join the chat. Let us know. We'll put you on a waiting list. A list will start, and we'll start sending out information about the class, but it will start in September. It runs for 30 days. I'm the coach for it. We work together. Every day there's a little mini challenge, tiny. We don't pull everything out of the closet and then get started. No, we don't do that. Oh, yeah, Elvin, thank you. He said, please don't forget to hit the like button, because once we get off this chat, it's as if nothing happened. The chat goes away. Please do the like buttons, because then YouTube with the algorithm will send this out to other people who can benefit from the information. And if you know anyone who can benefit, please send it and invite them for next week as well. Marilyn says her favorite thing to do is organizing nights. Do you do family consults or just one-on-one? I've only done one-on-ones up until now. I guess it would depend. Let's say yes. Let's say yes. Yeah, we can do that. We can do family consults, because a lot of times it is nice for everyone to get together and then discuss what's going on. Let's do it. You can email me at Karen M. Coach. I'm going to put it in the chat, and it's going to be in the notes as well. Karen M. Coach at gmail.com. Okay. And you can join us in the chat as well if you need to reach out to me. It has been a pleasure. Wow, we did good. It's 9:03. We did great. We got a lot done in an hour. Very, very nice. It's such a pleasure to have everyone here. And there were 24 on, and maybe 10 were commenting. Those that didn't comment, a pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining in. Please like and share. And what else? I think that's it. Love you all. Big hugs. Have a great day, and love on yourselves. Bye now. Take care. See you in the chat if there are any more questions. Bye-bye. If you're watching this video, it is because you're looking to make changes and create order in your environment, which is a reflection of how orderly your cranial universe is. Yes, your wonderful brain is asking for a change. When we created this workshop called UCO with 4 masterclasses for full activation, the first thing I did was to put it in practice in my life. Here in Vimes, everything that we teach is effectively tested, and in my case, the results were amazing. The truth is that when your brain is organized, everything around you becomes organized. As explained by Paulo, a psychologist who specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy, Cleanliness and order greatly influence our mental health. Human beings tend to always search for balance, both internally and externally, and that has to do with our environment. If we look around, everything requires order, even in nature. So we're programmed for that order. I've experienced enormous changes in my life by applying certain things. I thought I was a very organized person, but the truth was I didn't realize I was rigid. So the question arises, what is the difference between being orderly and being rigid? Well, our health helps us to answer that question. If to keep your environment clean and beautiful and your life in order with an agenda and a good schedule, you end up with body pain, pain in your back, a tense neck, I assure you that you are rigid. You're not enjoying the process of being organized. This is a sign that enters your brain, and the brain then sends that message to your beautiful body, and there go the aches and pains. On the contrary, if you enjoy doing what you're doing while you're doing your chores, you fulfill your daily goals, you start by writing them down without spending a whole lot of time on it and no stress, then it means you're doing it really well. You're relaxed and your body's like, this is good. It tells you when you finish your task to even applaud yourself and say, job well done. Now rest. That was my case. And then that was of the first participants as well, their experience of the Masterclass UCO, which is short for Organized Cranial Universe. From rigidity when organizing their environment and their life in general, they discovered that flexibility is the key, and they began to see with each workshop challenge that organizing can be relaxing and positive in every aspect. Now let's talk about the benefits you'll get by doing your UCO workshop. First, you'll learn simple techniques that are very effective when it comes to organizing yourself at home, work, or even with schoolwork. Your personal organization from this moment will be very different. The second is you will optimize your mental health while your environment is organized, achieving full balance. Remember, mental health is fundamental in every aspect of our lives. Third, you will enjoy the accompaniment of an instructor who's a coach. You'll have daily communication with her and with your classmates. This is something other online academies do not offer. You will have the skills to put into practice with your family and with everyone else who wants to. And we could also mention that the support material you receive is unlike any other. In the information of this Masterclass UCO, you have everything in detail regarding the benefits of doing this amazing, organized cranial universe workshop.